Good morning. We'll start session 7 on chapter Is Matter Around Us Pure? In our yesterday's class, we have studied about distillation and chromatography. You might have also seen the video of chromatography and distillation, which gave you a clear picture about how actually chromatography, that is, we separate the components of the color, will actually happen. And we studied about distillation, a simple technique where we separate two miscible liquids of different boiling point. Now, one thing we have to always keep in mind, in distillation, when we can separate two miscible liquids of different boiling point, the boiling point, the difference between the two liquids boiling point should always be greater than 25 degrees Celsius. See, acetone was 56, what we used yesterday. Water was 100. That means the difference in that boiling point was more than 25 degrees Celsius. Now, what if we have to separate the miscible liquids but their boiling points are less than 25 degrees Celsius? What will happen? For example, I have a liquid which boiling point is 56 and another liquid whose boiling point is 76, right? Less than 25. Once you start boiling, within few minutes the another liquid also will reach at the peak level. So it is difficult to separate. That is why such liquids whose boiling point is less than 25 degrees Celsius or 25 Kelvin. In terms of Kelvin also it is 25 Kelvin. So we separate those miscible liquids by the method of fractional distillation. So in our today's class we will study about fractional distillation. Now, fractional distillation, when we talk about, we have studied about fractional distillation in standard 8, where we studied how do we separate the constituents of petroleum. So when we obtain the petroleum or crude oil from the ground deep inside the sea, so what sticky black color oil what we get, that has many constituents in them, such as petrol, diesel, kerosene, lubricating wax, etc. So we put that crude oil or we subject that crude oil into a fractional distillating column where each column has its own boiling point. So different liquids with the different boiling points are separated. The liquid with the highest boiling point and the lowest boiling point are separated at a fractional column, right? That is what we studied in petroleum and its constituents. Similarly here, in this syllabus, we will be studying about fractional distillation. We understand how to separate again two miscible liquids which has boiling point less than 25 degrees Celsius. Also, we will understand how to separate the components of gases which is present in the air. So, air comprises of oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, argon. It's a mixture of gases, right? How do we separate this component of gases? That also is done by fractional distillation. That means fractional distillation has many processes. We can separate miscible liquids, we can separate components of gases, we can separate the components of petroleum, etc. So each unit or each process will have a different unit based on the components what we use there. So first we'll go with how to separate the two miscible liquids. We have taken the miscible liquid here as ethanol and acetone. So ethanol's boiling point is 78 degrees Celsius and acetone's boiling point is 56 degrees Celsius. That means difference in the boiling point is less than 25 degrees Celsius. So we will subject this liquids to a fractional distillating column. So the figure is same as we had for yesterday's distillation part. Let's understand the definition first. Fractional distillation is used to separate mixture of two or more miscible liquids where the difference in boiling point is less than 25 degrees Celsius or 25 Kelvin. 25 Kelvin is completely different from degrees Celsius. So in Kelvin, in terms of Kelvin also we see that the difference is 25 Kelvin. In terms of degrees Celsius also the difference is 25 degrees Celsius. So I have not labeled the parts because we know we have done that in our yesterday's class again. It is the same setup. We only have one extra column, that is this part this is one extra part here. This column or this particular part is called as fractional distillating column. Apart from that, we have a round bottom flask condenser which cools, and we have a beaker to collect it. It is the same setup, only this extra part we have added in fractional distillating column. So what we take here? We take a mixture of ethanol and acetone, right? And in this fractional distillating column, this round what you see are nothing but glass beads. Yes, a type of glass beads where we use that, not the ordinary one, a typical glass bead which is used in fractional distillating column only. So we use that here. Why? You will understand it. Now here we know the remaining parts what it is. We take the mixture of ethanol and acetone in a round bottom flask and start heating it. Of course, there should be one thermometer also here. We start boiling it. Now once we start boiling, what happens? Which boils first? Of course, acetone, because it has a boiling point is 56 degrees Celsius. Acetone boils. As acetone boils, what happens? The vapors of acetone put more and more effort so that it can pass through this fractional distillating column, right? Once it passes here, it has to also surpass the beads and reach here. See, it has to cross this beads. That means, for example, if you are in a sprint or something, you have a plain surface, you can run very easily. After a plain surface, I will put some sand and I put some ice cubes there. Can you run easily? No, because initially the surface was smooth, you could move very easily. Later the surface was very difficult to cross, that path was very difficult to cross, right? That means I have to put more force and pressure there to cross the surface. Similarly here, acetone should put really great effort so that it can pass through this glass beads. Once the vapors passes through these glass beads, as soon as they passes, they even start to condense a bit and they immediately move through this condensing unit. And you know that once they move to the condensing unit, they cool down and they drop down as a liquid. Meanwhile, now acetone has reached here. It wants to cross. Meanwhile, what will happen? Ethanol's boiling point also will come to that point, right? But ethanol does not have that much of effort or pressure to actually cross the glass bead also. Even when ethanol reaches here, acetone would be somewhere here, right? But ethanol cannot cross this. Its boiling point is 78. Till it reaches here, acetone would have already reached. So that is how we separate ethanol and acetone in a fractional distillating column. So this is the method to separate two miscible liquids whose boiling point is less than 25 degrees Celsius. Now we have another fractional distillating column where we call that as separation of components of air. How do we separate the components of air? By the way, why should we separate the components of air? Now when we go to hospitals, have you seen there are oxygen pipelines, or immediately the mask what they gave us oxygen supply, they keep on the ventilator. Where do the oxygen supply come from? Correct? So that oxygen what we get or which is stored in the cylinder, in the pipelines, that is what we obtain it from this method only. Now how do we obtain that? Because air is a mixture of hydrogen, not hydrogen. Air is a mixture of oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide and argon in very small content, right? We studied in a chapter where nitrogen is 78%, then oxygen, carbon dioxide and traces of argon and other gases it has. So how do you separate them? So what we do is, this is the whole unit of separation of the gases, components of gas. This is compressor. This is the freezing unit, this is the separator, this is the expansion jet, and this part is actually the fractional distillating column here. But before it reaches the fractional distillating column, it has to undergo these many processes, only then it can reach this column, right? So our main intention here is to capture or collect oxygen. because that is the need of the hour. In hospitals, they don't give us carbon dioxide, nitrogen or any other gas. We mainly require oxygen, so that is collected here. What do we do? Now air, what we have, so that is made to pass through a filter. So that filtered air reaches the compressor, right? Now compressor applies a very high pressure. So that under very high pressure, as the pressure increases, temperature also increases. So at a very high temperature and pressure, that air is made to pass through a freezing cold unit. As the air compresses and with a very high pressure, it passes through the freezing cold unit. A part of the, what you can say, it cools or it liquefies, what you can say, right? Since then what is done is that air is made to pass through the separator. See, under very high pressure, so it is made to pass through this freezing cold unit where it actually cools down. Once it cools down, it is made to pass through the separator. In separator, what happens? Since the air is cooled down, carbon dioxide, which is present in the air, condenses and what happens? It solidifies and it is converted into dry ice. What is dry ice? Dry ice is nothing but a solid form of carbon dioxide, what we say. See, basically now dry ice is usually used in some fun making games in science. If you have seen or come across ice-like thing which is kept, which turns into fumes, right? If you have seen in magic shows or anything you might have seen, so that is called as dry ice, which is nothing but solid carbon dioxide. So when the air gets cooled here, it is made to pass through the separator. In the separator, the carbon dioxide solidifies and turns into dry ice, and we collect that dry ice. Okay. So now what has happened? From the air, what we have collected, carbon dioxide is taken out. What is remaining? Oxygen, nitrogen and argon. So our main role is to remove now nitrogen and argon. So after the separator or after the carbon dioxide is removed in the form of a dry ice, the remaining air is forced to move to the expansion jet. What happens in the expansion jet? The air or the gases what are present, that gets liquefies, right? So this liquefied air will slowly start warming up as it reaches the fractionating column, right? So once it reaches the fractionating column, now what is the main role of fractionating column? To check with respect to boiling point. Now for example, say nitrogen, boiling point is, and write BP here, minus 196 degrees Celsius. Then argon, boiling point is minus 186 degrees Celsius. Oxygen, boiling point is minus 183 degrees Celsius. The difference is less than 25 degrees Celsius, right? That is why it is subjected to fractional distillation. So what I can say, oxygen has the highest boiling point than the remaining two. That means now what will happen? Simple here. Once it is subjected to fractional distillation, which will come out first? Nitrogen is collected first. Why? Because it has the least boiling point, minus 196. After nitrogen, argon is collected with again lesser than this, minus 186. At last, oxygen, which has the highest boiling point, that is minus 183 degrees Celsius, gets liquefied and that is collected in the last column. So this is how we collect the oxygen from the components of the air. Initially, the air is subjected to a filter, which is a composition of oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide and argon. From this air filter, it moves to the compressor where under a very high pressure, the air gets compressed. So, since the pressure is high, temperature also is very high. Then it is passed through the cooling or the freezing cold unit. What basically happens in the freezing cold unit? It cools, right? Once it cools, it is made to move to the next column, that is separator. In separator, carbon dioxide gets solidified as a dry ice and that is taken out. Now that is only remaining with oxygen, nitrogen and argon. Now this is subjected to an expansion jet where it further liquefies. Once it liquefies, it slowly starts warming up and moves to a fractional distillating column. Now fractional distillating column main point is to separate the components with respect to its boiling point. When nitrogen has minus 196 degrees Celsius, argon has minus 186 degrees Celsius and the highest is oxygen with minus 183 degrees Celsius. Since it is subjected to this, the gases with the lowest boiling point will be first taken out, then this, then finally oxygen which has the highest boiling point will be collected. So this is how we separate the components of air. This also is called as a fractional distillating column. So now we are left out with only two next separation of the mixture, that is decantation and crystallization, and another few facts about the lesson. So in today's class about fractional distillation, if you have any doubts, you can call on the same day of the video set. Thank you.